Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear girls. Today I am going to deliver you lecture number 2. This is chapter 11, electrostatics. Now first of all we come to the objective of today's lecture. You would be able to understand the concept of an electric field. You can define electric field intensity. You can solve problems using this equation E is equal to F by Q, and the concept of electric lines of force or electric lines. Now we come to electric field. What is an electric field? Basically, it is a region around a charge in which an electric test charge would experience an electric force. You can see here, there are two charges, plus Q charge and another charge. We call this charge as a test charge, that is Q naught. What is a test charge? It is a small amount of charge that is used to find the strength and direction of electric field intensity due to a charge at any point. Okay, you can see here, this is a unit positive charge, and this is a region around the electric charge plus Q. This region is known as electric field. Similarly, we come to the electric field of this test charge. This is again a positive test charge, and you can see here, this is again a region around the charge Q naught, and this region is known as electric field. Electric field is a vector quantity and is characterized by strength and direction at every point. Strength determines the amount of force that a charge experiences, and the amount of force is directly proportional to the number of lines. You can see here that in this figure, this region consists of lines, and the lines are directed away from plus Q. Lines are directed away from Q naught. So these lines represent, this gives you the strength of the electric field, and these lines are known as electric lines of force. And greater the number of these lines of force, more would be the strength. It means the field would be stronger. Direction is determined by the motion of unit test charge. So you can find the direction by moving this unit charge either towards Q or away from Q. Now we come to the electric field intensity. What do you mean? The electric field intensity basically is the strength of an electric field at any point, and it is defined as the force per unit positive test charge placed at that point. You can see here in this equation, where in this equation capital E represents electric field intensity. F is the force which is experienced due to the test charge, that is given as Q naught. So that is E, electric field intensity, is equal to force per unit charge. This electric field intensity determines the magnitude of the force expressed by test charge, as I told you earlier. The unit of electric field intensity. The SI unit is, you can see, what is the unit of force? Newton. What's the unit of charge? Coulomb. So Newton per Coulomb is the unit of electric field intensity. It is equal to another unit, that is volt per meter. And this volt per meter is actually derived from Newton per Coulomb. I will derive it in the next lecture. Now, we come to find out the formula of electric field intensity. You can see here, again we consider this figure. You can see there are two charges, plus Q, that is a source charge, and plus Q naught, it is taken as a test charge. You can see here the two fields are present, and the two fields may interact, and due to interaction it results an electric force. Okay, If you remember, in my first lecture, I told you about Coulomb's law, and Coulomb's law was equal to F is equal to K, Q1, Q2 over R square. Here, we have replaced Q1 by Q, Q2 by Q naught, and we write down this equation. All right? Now, what is the vector form? The vector form, you write it in this notation in vector form. F is equal to K, Q, Q naught over R square, R unit vector. I told you that where the direction of electric field intensity is represented by this unit vector. Okay, now when we use this force in the formula which is used to define electric field intensity, earlier I show you again this equation I am talking about, and instead of this F, we are going to use this equation, this one I am talking about. So F over Q naught, this is F over Q naught, Q naught, Q naught cancels, and we come to the formula of electric field intensity, that E is equal to K, E is equal to K Q over R square into R. As it is indicated in this equation that electric field intensity is a vector quantity, and the direction of electric field intensity is denoted by this unit vector R. Now this is giving you the first example of the chapter, and this is the first numerical problem, and you must write down, you must complete your data, that is data given, required, solution, formula you are going to use here, all this. Okay, find electric field at a distance of 30 centimeter from a 3 microcoulomb point charge. So what is given here? That is this distance. This distance is equal to, R is equal to 30 centimeter. We are going to convert centimeter into meter. For this purpose, you have to divide it by 100, and that is giving you 0.3 millimeter, right? Now, come to this quantity, that is coulomb, and we all know coulomb is the unit of charge. So here, the charge is Q, and it is given by 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 6 coulomb. As we all know, micro stands for 10 raised to the power minus 6. So this is given. What is required? Required is find electric field, that is E. Intensity of the field is to be calculated. So in our required, we will write down E, unknown. Solution, formula you are going to use here. This formula which we have derived right now earlier, we are going to use it. So you can, you notice here that we have written, instead of K, we have written 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. As earlier in my first lecture, I told you about K, that K is an electric constant, and its value depends upon the system of the units and the medium between the charges. And if the two charges are located in air or vacuum, then we use this symbol, that is epsilon naught. It is read as permittivity of free space, right? And this is whole K, and K has a fixed numerical value. I told you earlier that you will write down this value always in the data given, because it is a constant, and its value is always given, that is 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square, and by putting all the values you will get the value of E. Okay, now we come to second example, and this example is page number 9 in your book, and again we will write down, we have to solve this numerical problem in a proper way, that we have to write down data given, and in order to complete our data, first of all we have to read the statement, you have to state it. Okay. Two small spheres, each having mass of 0.1 grams, are suspended from a point with the help of threads 20 centimeter long. They are equally charged and they repel each other to a distance of 24 centimeter. What is the charge on each sphere? We have to find. that what are the given quantities. You notice over here that there are two spheres. Do remember, B and C are two identical spheres, and each of them having mass 0.1 gram, and we all know that we have to follow SI unit, and gram is not SI unit, so we have to convert it into kilogram. So how to convert this gram into kilogram? By dividing it 1000. So in this way, this is giving you the mass of each sphere, and they are suspended from a point with the help of threads. You can see that these are two spheres, C and B, and these two are suspended by means of two threads, and you can see that A is the point where they are suspended, and the length of each spread is given by 20 centimeter. So L is equal to 20 centimeter. Again, you have to convert centimeter into meter. For this purpose, you have to divide it by, that is by 100. Okay. Now, this is M, this is L, and this is R. You can see here they are suspended from a point with the help of thread 20 centimeter long. Okay, this is L, and they are equally charged. They repel each other to a distance of 24 centimeter. So what does it mean? What is 24 centimeter? This total length that is given by CB is 24 centimeter, and if we draw a perpendicular from the point of suspension A, we get here AD, and this length definitely BD and DC, these are equal in length and of measure, that is 12 centimeter, and 12 centimeter should be converted into meter again. Okay. Now you can see here, as I told you, this is R, that is separation between the two spheres. This is M, this is L, and because I told you what is required here, Q is unknown. But here the problem is not very simple and direct, because you notice that if we use this equation where you have to find Q, but the problem is we don't know, not knowing this F. In order to find F, so definitely because all the values except Q is given, so we have to use here the formula, that is the Coulomb's law, as I told you earlier, that is F is equal to K Q1 Q2 over R square. After putting these values, what we get, let it be equation number 1. And this equation you notice that we cannot solve it further because still Q square is unknown. So the main problem is first to find Q. In order to find Q, girls, we have to do some geometrical work over here. As I told you that the two spheres are suspended by means of these threads, each of length 20 centimeter. So first of all, we come to the right angle triangle. You can see ABD is a right angle triangle, and in this right angle triangle, let me first come to the number of forces which are involved in the figure. What are the number of forces? As I told you about the point of suspension, this is the thread, and when this thread is suspended, and this is the mass of the sphere of magnitude mg acting vertically downward, and this is giving you tension T along the stretched string, right? So this is T, and you notice that this T is making some angle theta with this direction. So here we can resolve T into its component. Which one? That is T sine theta. It is upward, directed upward, and T cos theta, it is directed as shown by this arrowhead. And this is again an arrow that shows the electric force, because B and C, both the spheres having same charge, that's why there would be an electric force, and the electric force is a force of repulsion, so it has this direction. T cos theta, opposite direction. T sine theta, upward direction. mg downward direction. So we can resolve the number of forces as we did here, and now when we resolve the forces, that is the force T into its component, so we get here two equation number 2 and equation number 3, as I told you that here mg is balanced by T sine theta, and this F is balanced by T cos theta, and here we have got equation number 2 and equation number 3. What we have to do here, girls, we have to divide 2 by 3, and when we here you notice when we divide 2 by 3, what we as we know, sine theta over cos theta, it is a trigonometric identity, and that is given by tangent theta. So this tangent, and I told you earlier so many times that how we divide the two equation, left from left side and right from right side. So this side of the equation is also divided, that is mg over f. So this is let it be equation number 4. Okay, now girls, this is a right angle triangle, and in the right angle triangle, this AB is the hypotenuse, BD is the base, and AD is the perpendicular. So we can apply here Pythagoras theorem, and what is Pythagoras theorem? That the sum of the square of the hypotenuse is equal to that is Pythagoras theorem, and Pythagoras theorem means that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to sum of the square of the perpendicular plus base. So eliminating for AD square, because we need to find AD. We need it because when we apply trigonometric identity, we need to find its value, and its value could be calculated from Pythagoras theorem. And when we apply Pythagoras theorem over here, what comes? We get here AD is equal to 16 centimeter. Okay. In this way we have got its value, and when we put the value, as we all know, when we apply trigonometric identity to the right angle triangle ABD, what is tangent theta? Tangent theta is equal to perpendicular to base. What is perpendicular? AD is the perpendicular. Where is the base? BD is the base, and perpendicular to base is giving you AD over BD, and BD is already given, that is given by 12 centimeter, because I told you that BC the whole length was 24 cm, and when we drop a perpendicular AD, so this really bisects it, that is of equal magnitude 12 centimeter. So after putting the value, that is 16 centimeter over 12 centimeter, what we get? We get here ratio, and we are going to use this value of tangent theta in equation number 4, because in equation number 4 m is given, g is acceleration due to gravity, and f is the force, and when we put we eliminate for f, what we get after putting all the values, we get here f is equal to 7.4 into 10 to the power minus 4 newtons. In this way we have calculated f. Now the task is easy, and as in equation number 1 I told you that f is equal to this term into q square. All right, and here we will use the value of f, that is 7.4 into 10 to the power minus 4 Newton over here, and this is q square, taking square root on both sides, what we get? We get the value of q, that is 6.9 into 10 to the power minus 8 coulombs. All right, now we come to electric lines of force or electric field lines. Electric field, as I told you, is a region, and the region consists of lines. These are lines which show a direction, that is the direction of the field. Okay. The electric field in the vicinity of a charged body can be represented by imaginary lines called electric field lines, or electric lines of force. These lines you can see, as earlier I told you, you can see here, this is a unit positive charge, and how the lines are directed. These are directed outward. We say radially, we use the word radially. Why? Because the space around the charge is spherical in nature, and this is giving you the radius of this circular path, and the lines are directed along the radius of the circular path. That's why what we say that the lines are, you can see here the diagram shows the field lines of force of a single positive charge. They are radially outward. When we come to unit negative charge, you can see here when Q is less than 0, it has a negative charge, it is a negative charge. Then the diagram shows the field lines or lines of force of a single negative charge. They are radially inward. Here the direction of the field is opposite. Here it is outward, radially outward, and here it is radially inward. All right. Electric lines of force are the path followed by a unit positive test charge in the field of source charge. Here you notice that if we take one charge that is the source and the other one is test charge, then the lines of force represent the direction of the field. The arrows indicate the electric field at different points. At different points, you notice at this point, this point, this point, at every point in the region, the direction of the field could be represented by putting an arrowhead in the lines. The small or large distance between the field lines gives information about the electric field being strong or weak. Okay, you notice here the lines of force are very close. Closer the lines of force, more would be the strength of the field, means the field would be stronger. As we are moving away, the lines are moving away radially outward. You notice that the distance between the lines increase. So it means the strength of the field becomes weaker here as compared to this region. So here the field is stronger. As we move away, the field becomes weaker. So this is, I think it is clear now that the small or large distance between the field lines gives information about the electric field being strong or weak. The tangent to the lines of electric field gives the direction of the field at that point. This is the case when we bring two unlike charges plus Q and minus Q closer. You notice that lines originate from positive charge and terminate at negative charge. They are originating from positive and they are terminating towards negative, and also originating from positive and moving towards negative. You can see that the lines of force seem to be curved lines, and the direction of the field at every point on the curve could be indicated by introducing tangent. So if this is point and we want to find the direction of the field at this point, for this purpose we will draw a tangent, and the tangent at that point represent the direction of the field. Okay, so here this was the explanation of the point, this point. Okay, now these lines can never intersect each other as they will have two different direction of field at a single point. Always remember, no two lines can intersect. No two lines can intersect. You notice over here that the lines of force, they are originating from one point, they are tending to move towards one other point, and they never cross each other. Always remember this point. Okay, now the lines originate from positive charge and terminate at negative, all right. There are some points where the resultant intensity is the sum of intensities due to individual positive and negative charges. What does it mean? When we come to the map, okay, what is map? Map determines the electric field in terms of electric lines of force. So this is the map, that is the electric field. And the electric field is representing some points where the resultant intensity is large because the lines of force are very close and they have the same direction. And there are some points where the lines of force are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction, like here here, the lines of force, they cross each other, and this shows the zero resultant intensity, and such points are known as neutral points. Now we come to like charges. In case of like charges, you notice that plus Q, the lines are directed outward, but because there is a force of repulsion, that's why here the field would be stronger, because the lines of force are close, and here there is no electric line of force which is passing through this region. So this point is known as neutral zone, and the resultant intensity would be zero at this point. Now we come to this figure, and this is basically a figure. It is showing two infinitely large parallel plates separated by a very small distance, that is say this distance is r. So you can see here that we have used the word infinite length, means these could be extended. It means there is no end point, and when we come to such charge sheets of infinite length, then lines of force originating from plus plate towards negative plate, they are very close, they all have the same direction. So this is the region between the two plates where the resultant field is very strong. But what happens here? That is the end of the two plates. You notice that at the end of the two plates, this is giving you now the finite point. So the lines, they really bulge, and here the field is weaker. Similarly, we have another example, and in this another example, what we take, suppose that a charge plus Q is placed near a metal plate. Let me consider a charge plus Q, and this is a metal plate, and we all know that metals are good conductors of electricity. Metal means valence electrons, and electrons means negatively charged particles, and when this sphere is brought close to the metallic plate, then what happens? It results in the motion of these charges until some of them reach that surface of the metal which is near to plus Q charge, where they will at rest. And in this way, we notice that the field line starting from plus Q charge will end on the negative charge of the metal plate. So the lines are always perpendicular to the metal surface. The electric lines of force cannot pass through the conductor. You notice that no line of force is passing through this conductor. They are compelled to move towards negative plate. So here the lines of force become very closer to each other, the field would be stronger. Here the lines of force are apart, the field would be weaker. So field lines always strike perpendicularly to the metal surface. The field lines cannot pass through a conductor, therefore electric field is zero inside a conductor, because no line is practically passing through this body. That's why the field would be zero inside it. And the electric lines of force have tendency to contract in the length. You notice that here there is a contraction because the lines of force are closer. Here the lines of force are away. Okay. Thank you, guys.